She said she loves you.
But she can't love me.
But I love you.
Yeah. Look, all of my friends going crazy. I gotta break on myself, I amaze me. I got to phase me. I'm too dope like I'm back in the 80s.
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xBet.
On to the next one.
YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone peeks through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb drops, popped up behind it at the edge of. Away with a kill, but quick trade back from Ariel. Still through the
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions.
YaLLa, let's go.
Welcome back, everybody. It is another beautiful day of being able to cover some Counter-Strike action right here at Compass. It's MNJ and YaLLa to take you through two wonderful games to kick things off, and then we're going to have our lovely colleagues Travis and Hayes take you through the evening matchups. Josh, how are we feeling today?
Good. Very, very allergy, but I'm feeling good. Yeah, we've got a couple of good games, haven't we? I think, actually, we've got sort of two of the best ones for today. 9 versus RUSHB up first. I think that's going to be an interesting match, to be honest. RUSHB have looked very good recently. They've been a... well, I say very good recently. Like, they've been playing above their level recently, I think. Like, if you look at their recent matches, there's a few losses scattered in there, but... yeah, I think it just feels like every single time I cover them, they're a really great dark horse that you can never really count out. They're always supposed to be the underdogs in games, and they always seem to overperform. And yeah, the ranking sort of reflects that a little bit. They've been climbing quite nicely. They're now within that top 70, and yeah, actually within 3 spaces of this 9 roster. But we'll take a look at this 9 roster first. Mantu and Favon up there, rocking some really good ratings at the moment. They've been really firing in their matches.
Yeah, the truth is that a couple of players from 9 at the moment are just way above and beyond their caliber almost, right? Like, we've been able to see the likes of Mantu, we've been able to see the likes of Favon just rip through the actual tier that they're playing in right now, and I feel like 9 is coming along very nicely. I think it took a little while for them to find their groove, but now that they have, it's mostly been a sea of green. Now, obviously, a little bit of that is a couple of weaker matchups in there, but not necessarily, right? Like, the only recent loss that they've had is against Zero Tenacity, after I think it was like an 8 win streak against some really heavy hitters like Navi Jr., Gunfi, FabBet, Cybershoke. But interestingly enough, the only loss they've had is right here in Compass. So they are actually starting off 0-1, and yes, you are watching the 0-1 bracket, which is exactly where RUSHB are as well. So I'm glad to see we're getting to see 2 teams on the come up, both of them feeling pretty good, both of them within that sort of same caliber. This should definitely be a good match.
Yeah, it should be. I actually watched that game yesterday, their loss against Zero Tenacity, and it was a bit of a weird one. It was back-to-back 13-11s, and for me, it just felt like they lost a lot of very strange rounds that they shouldn't be losing. They lost a lot of rounds against ecos and like low force buys and things like that, and it quite literally made the difference. That could have very easily been 2-0 in their favor if they hadn't have lost a couple of those key swing rounds. Sometimes that's just the way Counter-Strike goes, especially here in MR12. Just losing scenarios like that can be very, very punishing. Over on the other side of things, though, yeah, your harder hitters here for RUSHB, certainly Texi and Zinni have been putting up numbers recently. I think Texi's a player to really watch out for, even sort of beyond this roster as well. I think there's a good chance that he could find himself in a new team in months to come. Maybe, we'll see. But yeah, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with within this CIS scene. And yeah, maybe RUSHB isn't quite the ceiling for him. But as you say, I think that these guys are very, very capable of putting up a decent showing today and giving us a good game. They do play 6 of the 7 maps. They've actually been playing a fair bit recently as well. And other than sort of the vulnerability of Train, you can sort of take them anywhere, and they're okay with that. My one concern is the fact that 9 are actually a pretty good trained team. Maybe we will see that one come up today. So when the vetoes come along, I think that's going to be the one thing that RUSHB are sort of worrying about a little bit, and we'll see if that ends up being the case.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we have that conversation about the ceiling of RUSHB and how that's affected, right? But I do want to quickly take a look at the veto. Okay, so a train pick coming up first thing in the day. That's real nice. It's actually something that 9 have been picking into, so I guess it's not too surprising. But I think in the grand scheme of things, you're not really seeing too many teams that are prioritizing train, which is why I was caught off guard a little bit. But then we're going into Ancient and then Inferno. Now, I think it's a bit of a weird veto for RUSHB because they have to start off playing a map that they're not too comfortable with. Although they've tried to be comfortable with it, they've played it quite a few times. It's been a real earnest effort from them to try and adapt to it, especially because of just the total reps that they've gotten. But it's not been all that great. Not really good results. You can't say the same for 9. Then they have to then go into a map pick that is perfectly comfortable for 9. And I guess that's sort of the specialty for 9. They have not only been playing 6 out of 7 maps very comfortably, but they've had no troubles playing it. And the weakest map that 9 actually have, which is, you know, it feels a bit weird to say it because even that's pretty good because they've won against Passion, Favbet, Gun5. Dust 2 is what RUSHB have banned. So there was really never ever going to be any corners in this veto where RUSHB could scurry off to and try to cheese away a victory. That was just never going to happen. On the other hand, 9 get to go in with their chest puffed out, feeling good that they're going into 2 maps to kick things off where they should almost have the upper hand.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit of a strange one, isn't it? Because, you know, I mean, as you say, 9 do often pick into it, but yeah, they don't always pick into it, sort of just shy of 50% of the time. So really playing into RUSHB's weaknesses as well here, and it's a nice punish pick. It does surprise me that a team like RUSHB and sort of the way in which their roster operates, that they do actually permaban Dust 2. It does feel like a map that you'd expect them to be quite good on. But without any further delay, we are underway here with map number 1. It's the CT side, stacked up with only Kevlar, no kits, no util. And the Glocks looking to barrel forward and split towards A.
Zinni does take first contact and they have to play it chill for a little while. 9 sort of cuddled up towards Long Dog. Having a couple players that can pop out of main as well. But no real commitment just yet. Now, I think it's going to be a little while before we see the full pop. Relatively slow start to the game, which is almost a bit uncharacteristic of what you'd seen on Train, but I guess it makes sense if you're looking at just the pistol round in isolation.
Instead of calling it Long Dog, they should have called it Up Dog. That would have been better.
What's up, dog?
Shut up, man. What's up? All right, Kinky. Time to give us a little bit of something here towards the back of the site. It's going to be Executor instead, actually, from Connector to land that first headshot and get the wheels turning here on this retake. But back and forth. And this is where having no kits becomes a little bit of a problem. Because Mantu's just picked off one of the heads to the Cerebus. So now it's just Kinky and Executor. They can't find anything else. There's the lone man on the bomb site running out of options here. Drowning. Oh, nice shot, though.
Yeah, just a shot on the fadeaway. Is it going to pay the bills for this round? So it's all about backing off. I will say, I want to sort of draw your attention back to the conversation we were having about how good this team can get. Because you're right, you've got a couple of really heavy hitters within the ranks of RUSHB. You've got Texi, who you already have said that could be finding himself in an even better team. You know, this might not be a ceiling. Zinni could be in the same sort of light. But then the question becomes, if there are enough players that are so good, why doesn't RUSHB itself elevate themselves to that next point, right? Instead of having to then join other teams. But I think the answer to that comes down to just a couple of really bad performers within the team. Because generally, we haven't really seen Kinky on top. We've seen Kiro, as decent as he is as an AWP player, like when you've got 2 riflers ahead of you in that rating, which, you know, I don't want to be too one-dimensional, but the rating does matter, right? If you've got 2 riflers ahead of you, then there's definitely some room for upwards mobility in that department. But in the meantime,
yeah,
bit of a back and forth.
Yeah, it is difficult for a team, isn't it? You don't want to be swapping out players, especially at the moment with VRS. It's really punishing to be swapping out players unless you absolutely have to. But I am with you there. It does feel like, yeah, I don't know how sustainable it is to have a player with like a 0.8 rating, but like how long you can just kind of
unless
roll with
it's
that,
masked,
especially
okay?
When, yeah, I'm kind of with that. I don't think he's calling either, so it just doesn't feel all too sustainable. But executes a Cairo. We're going to try and pick up the pieces of a bit of a fallen round here. They have forced into it for Mass at the back of the site. He did a very good job in the pistol round to keep things competitive. And he gives it a little stab there, but unable to finish Faven. He was low on health. And it'll be the scout. Just, that's cruel. I'm not sure if Faven expected the scout to be there around that corner, but crouching just below the crosshair. So hard to
really
adjust.
Difficult to hold that kind of angle with the scout anyway.
Yeah.
9. It just feels pretty comfortable now. Can just very comfortably run over RUSHB. Now, this is the 9 map pick, so nothing's too bleak if this ends up being a very comfortable affair. And I feel like this is a bit of a trend. Most of the time when we end up casting Train, whoever's picked into it or whoever has been actively practicing it just completely steamrolls the other team, because the thing we've started to get used to otherwise on MR12 is that games come very close, games become very competitive, and it comes down to much slimmer margins than it used to be. And Train might be the only bastion that maintains that kind of status quo, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Nice shot.
I could never be that stable.
Yeah, no, me neither. Maybe he'll do it again. Bang. See you later. Lovely stuff. Good night, man, too. AK found. Sees another on top of the train. He wants to do as much damage as he can here.
I like
Seems
how
like they are going to give him a little bit more.
They were super
was that?
careful with how they position themselves, not to over-aggress, not to allow more 1v1s into the AK-47, and instead force him to walk into 2 players on different heights as he's trying to cross over, so it would be a guaranteed kill for them. So I like the fact that 9 are careful, even against a saving player.
Yeah, I mean, it takes them a little while to work that out, right? They've got to lose 2 first before they say, all right, let's double peek him now, but trial and error. Now we get into the meat of things, though. It's a 3-0 start, but only really off of the back of RUSHB losing their force buy in the second. Now they've got the weapons out. They want to try and leave their marks. A good early entry, though. That's Rouse just popping one in main, then backing it up. And 2's going to try and burst out B. Ooh.
Unfortunately, this early damage means that they've completely been locked out, and RUSHB already know that they've got to scurry for the hills, so that's exactly what they're going to do. Ducked into the back lines. I think they still have a bit of a finger on the pulse, hoping that somebody walks into their crossers, and maybe they can still pull it at the end. Okay. Okay, this is a ninja defuse attempt.
You
I
feeling
love
it?
Yep, of course it is. This commitment, it's going to be so hard to keep them off of it, too. Never mind. Oh, hang on. They're still trying to get on it.
Go. No, he's pulled the plug on it. I think he realized they maybe just about don't have enough time. Ah, wow. Okay. Good intentions, but rough outcome.
You see, in that kind of position, the highway player needs to have the nads to just jump out, to draw away all the attention, so that the real ninja diffuser can take care of business.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Needed to, you know, you're cooking up something like that. Needs to be timed to perfection, right? Can't leave it too late and then have to pull the plug on it. But luckily enough, they'll stay alive with 3 players, so doesn't actually make all too much difference. They'll zoom into this round with a buyout again. 2:25 on this clock. Kinky, little jiggle, nice dink. Smoke goes down. It's good information. He saw both of them there. Dragon, hungry for one of his own. That's the entry again.
One for one's good. Very important for Kinky to be able to find that kill. And 9. Got their eyes set towards the B bomb site. Executor able to isolate a duel. Now, the fact that the bomb drops there makes him quickly realize that the one player has already slipped the net. Bob XD is going to make quick work of him. Now, they still have to deal with one more, though. That's the issue. Are they even going to check for him? Because they've already gotten the kill here. The bomb runs right into him. Bob XD, as he's trying to chase him down, caught in the back by Kiro. It's just a very messy affair that Rawls can still do something about, but simply won't. RUSHB with their first.
Finally, a better round, and one that they can actually maybe start to snowball off of a little bit, even though they've been losing here. They've done a fair bit of damage in these opening rounds, so 9 will reinvest, and they're down to 0. And they'll start to realize that as well, the importance of just converting here, otherwise their hard work very quickly unravels. Here we go. AK barreling forward, big pickup.
So much space being granted by Rawls early. And Kragan being as low as he is, this round is ripe for RUSHB to be solidifying one more round. I'm playing all the way in the back of Ivy, and, you know, it's a conversation I had with Travis on the broadcast the other day that Ivy has unfortunately been made in a way where oftentimes there's just no point in testing it because there's too much cover and all that, but for the first few times we see such a large commitment. Oh, Mantu, real good on the scope. Couple kills found. But it's still a 2 versus 2. Kiro's hunting for the second prospect. Has no idea how much space has been gained by the other prong. Pomp still needs to be collected, so it's a bit of a solo mission from the last player of 9 available on the A site. Oh, little sliver of the elbow spotted. Kiro's right in the back. Should be able to triangulate the position of the final player, but preemptively wanting to go towards B and Long Dog. I was genuinely about to call it up, dog. You've gassed me, okay?
Trendsetter.
Comfy plant.
Okay, right. Oh, that's good timing. You'll be happy with that. There's no idea where the last is, though, and he's actually so paranoid. He's thinking that Bob's maybe coming in from behind. Now he's been spotted. And his head's on a pivot. Those there's one towards Pop. Oh, no, just stuck in the sandwich, trying to cross into the site. Not going to happen. And a good retake there from RUSHB.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Bob ends up just standing out in the open in the middle, exposing himself to all the angles rather than committing to one. I really thought that he would wrap around and find the last player in Long Dog to get himself another 1v1, but you see it in the replay. A couple of brilliant moments from either team, but it does boil down to RUSHB being able to pick it up, and now it's 9 on the pistols.
This is what happens. Oh, so quickly, and it's actually not even an eco. They're going to go in with the pistols, but it's a full commitment, down to 0. So losing this would almost definitely tie things up back at 4 apiece, and it's a little bit awkward.
Bit of a labored spray on the entrance, but is able to deal with the one player on B. Everybody else getting ready to book it to A. Missed shot from Kiro. Allows quite a bit of space all the way in the back already. Kinky keeping things clean, however. Krogan and Favin go down. Rels will follow suit. Just match remaining. You can't even get a consolation prize. So lots of damage being peppered across the board, but nothing that converts into a kill, Josh.
Now it'll be that true freebie.
Dude, I love this angle from Bob XT.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I actually thought that yesterday in his game as well. It's just like, I've just got out of bed. don't look at my face.
He's just giving us a
I like the corner
second
of the
view
room cams.
into his perspective.
I want the players to wear a GoPro on their head. I would like that, please. Just watch the round through the eyes of Bob.
That would be fun.
Well, a little bit of a flat round. Oh, go on.
I was gonna say there's like a million ways why having a GoPro on someone could go terribly wrong, but go off, Queen.
Yeah, no, even in the force buy in the last, it just didn't really feel like they did all too much with it. And we see it the same here. It's just, you know, one by one, peeking out, trying to land some flashy headshot with the Deagle. It doesn't happen. Even though it's an eco round, they've still invested a fair bit, 'cause everybody had those Deagles without Kevlar. They don't find anything with it. So, back-to-back flawless rounds from RUSHB, flip the economy just like that. They go from losing to winning 4 in a row. You've got players on 5 figures here. Kura's got 10k in the bank, and they actually feel in a really good position to give us, you know, something decent here on Trey.
This is honestly an incredible recovery coming out from RUSHB, because coming into it, it's the 9 map pick. They're on the T side. They start off 4-0. It feels a little bleak, right? But then you look at the KDRs now for RUSHB. You've got the likes of Kiro on 9 and 4. 9 kills and 4 deaths. Suddenly looking dominant when you started off so poorly. We do see a tactical timeout from 9, and for good reason. They're feeling a little bit shaky. It's kind of weird to see that 9 have had such a big streak of victories up until they played in Compass. Then that's when they suffered their first loss against Zero Tenacity, going in the 0-1 bracket. RUSHB kind of the opposite. They've had quite a few losses already, and they're wanting to turn their luck around. 1-for-1 trade. B site starting to be unlocked a bit, but an unholy trifecta waiting for Bob, but he does not care until Kiro steps into the picture. Mantu and Krogan now up against Kiro and Texi.
So many angles to clear here as well. Krogan paranoid as he presses the site, but Mantu having to go back for the bomb. It's actually a tough task in itself. I don't think he realizes just how close they are. The press up from B. Texi is going to be hot on his heels in just a second, and Mantu takes a little too long. This is the problem. Krogan cleared the site so long ago that Mantu then starts to worry that on a timing, someone's then wrapped around Ivy, so can't even just run out with the bomb in hand like he'd like to, I guess. Krogan, in the meantime, yeah, hasn't found anybody. Realizes that actually both were on that flank. And with 40 seconds left, he smoked off. There's another smoke to go down as well. He just doesn't have any breathing room in this clutch whatsoever.
Yeah, time's definitely not on his side. Goes right into it with a flashbang. Bomb recovered, a little B-op action. And now they'll be chasing after him. They preemptively toss a Molotov to try and find him. But I love the fact that Krogan takes his sweet time and goes all the way to B. This open plant also suddenly brings things into question. Now, he's got 3 or 4 potential angles that he can protect this bomb from. But instead, he wants to try and take the route up close and personal. RUSHB having gone for the full wraparound. Bomb position now exposes where he potentially could be. So they're going searching, but Krogan knows that his responsibility at the moment is to try and find an early duel. No, audio cue. Gives up exactly where he is. They're not quite committed just yet. Tap on the bomb, sees one. Oh, if it was the shoulder peak, then he might have stayed alive, but really good recovery from RUSHB.
Yeah, they've played that very well. Kraken's done well to just recover that bomb and sort of carve a bit of a path to get it planted, to be honest. But yeah, they won't get anything more than that. Just about enough to be able to buy here too. Max loss bonus will do them some favours. They'll be in a position to get rifles out. But Rouse down to that Galil. Util on the rest, lacking on a couple of players. So it's far from perfect, but it would suffice it. See if they can make it work.
Well, Nine are now going to have to try and turn the narrative after RUSHB has been building up a mountain of rounds. If this continues, I'd be really worried for 9. Good flashbangs in. He takes advantage of it, but Mantu quickly unpeaks. Acts as an anti-flash. Rel's popping out a long dog now, starts to give them access to the A-bomb site. A weirdly scattered round where everyone is on their solo mission. Surprising amount of space being taken up in middle though, Josh.
Oh, big pickup though. It's a snake in the grass, a sneaky Bob XD on the site they just weren't expecting apparently. I mean, they'd lost so much space. It seems so strange that they're not ready for that fight. A bold plant as well, without the connector control. Lucky for them, no one's coming up through there. Instead, it's a single-pronged approach. Out through Ivy. Galil can't connect for all the bullets needed.
What?
It's so low HP on
No!
Galil, though, that Mantu can just fire him away and send it on to 5 for 9. A clutch that he had no business in winning, but the stars aligned. It was teed up. They were all low on health. And all he needed was a bullet for each to get it done.
God, I want to see that in the replay. What a beautiful sequence of shooting. There's the first kill from him, and the hedges were starting to be trimmed by the opposition, but then Mantu, desperate in that 1v3. Look at that. Bang, bang, and then triple bang as he finds a Texi there towards the end. And a much-needed clutch. Good for them to be taking a timeout to cool things off after that. Definitely one for the highlight reels. And RUSHB definitely a bit shaken up. The thing is, right, they kind of did all that they could. They maybe the peaks were a bit disjointed towards the end, but peaking one after the other with very little time in between, the refrags almost seemed like they would line up, but Mantu gave them the business.
You know what's kind of special about that, right, is I say, like, they're all low on HP, so you know, that's what sort of does that for him. Other than the second player, they're both headshots, right? Yeah. So they could have been full health, but it still would have applied. But it's something that just comes, that little bit of extra confidence that comes your way when you got your teammates saying they're 1 HP. It's like, all right, I'm gonna take these gunfights rather than cowering away. Early advantage here in this round as well. 9 looking to propel themselves onto 6. Realistically, it should be the other way around right now. I think RUSHB are going to be feeling the force of that. I think it should be 6-4.
Yeah, that's got to be a little frustrating at the very least. Executor to find the information on 2. Ooh, Mantu somehow threads a bullet between 2 bodies. Bob XD unable to connect the spray either. Some misses from all parties involved. Fabin wanting to pick up the pieces, but it's a single kill from him. Rawls holding the angle, sees the elbow. He doesn't want to peek it until he's got a supportive flash. So beautiful comms there. And Krogan, in a 1 versus 3, wants to try and pull off what Mantu did. There it is, a freebie being offered on a silver platter. But he's got to work for the rest of his meals. Should have an isolated duel early on. Sees the body dropping. Molotov confirms the position of the second player as well. Needs to find both. Sees him scurrying away. Has to pull the bomb out. Pistol. Oh, he's fumbling with his keys because he doesn't have any bullets remaining. And that's going to be the bane of his existence as RUSHB are able to get right onto a 6th.
We weren't going to see another 1v3 clutch, were we? Wishful thinking. But Yeah, you're right. RUSHB on to 6. They've actually given us a much better showing here on train than I think either of us were expecting. And, well, they'll at the very least split things down the middle at the halfway point. They've got a good opportunity to lead at the halfway point here on their opponent's map pick, one that we've already established they don't really play and don't have great results on at all. So if that's sort of something to go off of for the rest of this series, they've still got a whole best of 3 to be played here. They can keep things this competitive on a map that they are statistically very poor on. Then maybe there's something more here, but you have got to remember they're on the CT side. There is still a whole other half to be played. And I think it's always, when there's a map that you don't really play and you don't have great results on, I think it's always much easier to play that CT half. I think as soon as you're the ones that have to sort of control the pace a little bit, and you're the ones that have to call the shots on that attack, that's where things start to crumble. It's a good start, though. Early advantage. And picking at straws a little bit here.
I really do appreciate the resilience that RUSHB have been able to offer. Oh, uh-oh. Taxi, no.
Oh, no. Oh, he's left-clicking him. What?
I think the idea was for BobXD to just sort of fish around to see if there's somebody in his face. But he ends up committing to the kill. But regardless, it does come out on top for RUSHB, so Taxi's going to be feeling a bit hard done by it. Man 2, the 1v3 was cool, but another one, this time with 4, definitely not happening. So RUSHB, having only 1 interruption after their little comeback from 0 and 4. 5 rounds for 9, despite being off to a 4-0 start, is a bit abysmal, all things considered. And the consolation prize of the knife from BobXD isn't going to be.
Shame, right? Moving poetic, but yeah, 7-5, a good half. You know, it's nothing too crazy for the CT side of train. I think that is sort of your expected benchmark to be hitting, but it is still, you know, a result, and they'll take it for sure. So straight into this next, that is this second half pistol. No, and it's really worth its weight in gold here for both teams. Important to convert, and BobXD getting aggressive there in Ivy and going down first. That's definitely not how you want to start this one off.
Rawls gets into a bit of a scuffle with Kinky. Beautiful start for RUSHB already, unless they can hold off the line with the USPs, and every single kill going the way of RUSHB. So 9 feeling really hard done so far on their own map pick. Gotta be a disappointing start.
Now it's time to sort of, well, I mean, they've not forced into it, so they're not even trying to flip this around. They recognize the fact that, yeah, this can get out of control very quickly. But it does mean giving RUSHB another freebie and building up that money even further. This is something that we saw really heavily on that CT side. 9 just not quite looking themselves in the series yet. I think they'll build up to it. They'll get there, but sometimes a symptom of these morning games. And I think, actually, this is something that, you know, it's maybe like a tiny little micro of somebody that's not really a morning person. But I think a lot of the time we see these CIS teams perform a little bit better in the morning games because they're a couple of hours ahead. So for 9, where you're getting up and it's like a 10 a.m. start, for RUSHB, this is more like midday, right?
Yeah, like, I think if you and I were playing in a team together, I would just never schedule anything early in the morning, because I know that your allergies would be killing you before any of the enemies do.
I completely whiffed a gunfight. Sorry, guys, I sneezed. Had my eyes closed. Happens to the best of us.
And the worst.
Yeah.
I want to see if 9 can set the precedent for a recovery just like RUSHB did, because it's a good start, don't get me wrong. But definitely possibilities here for 9 to start to turn things around.
I think, to be honest, it's more than possibilities. I think it's likely that 9 will turn it around now with the guns. Maybe that's just me being, you know, blinded by optimism and blinded by the stats for this team. But, you know, heavy favourites in the series, heavy favourites on their map pick. I really don't see them just going down without a fight here and, you know, RUSHB winning this next buy and running away 13-5. It just doesn't feel like the story here for me. But we'll see. That's all it takes for RUSHB, really, converting this one round.
I think the difference in opinion that you and I have is that I just don't think that 9 are the series, like the heavy series favorites. Maybe it leans a little bit in their favor, but dude, RUSHB have also been really good recently, so not going to count them out at all, especially with how many whiffs you've seen from 9 today. Could be that morning sickness you're talking about, but look at this. RUSHB already starting to gain control of B. Beautiful shooting from 2 of the members. They're not going to expect Bob XD in the side, who's going to come through and gets a little bit of help from Krogan to finish the job. No bomb plant, so you can already expect the money to look bleak in the next one. Zinni, of course, hoping to find some consolation.
1v5. Does take at least one out with that Galil, but yeah, it doesn't have the bomb on his back and has to survive here. It's not ideal, but he's got 2k in the bank and the rest of the team have got money to buy, so it's not going to be the end of the world. It's a really good round, though. And honestly, for Bob XD, even though he only finds 2 kills there, that's so brilliant. I was really worried, but then we're going for this late execution. He was a solo anchor. I was really concerned for him, but he actually plays the position perfectly, stays alive for long enough for the rotates to come in, and yeah, it's just awesome footwork from the anchor. Into round number 16 we go.
Oh my god, Rawls. Leave some bullets for the rest of us, man. Okay, bit sloppy in both sprays, but somehow comes out on top with not too many scratches. Good stuff from 9. Some pushback offered by Zinni. But an outstanding start should be converting into a round victory. Hang on, not quite the case just yet. Tex is still allowing some resistance. Krogan long range spray is good. Mantu steps in, and suddenly that kill from Zinni towards the end goes to waste once more. And this is where they're genuinely just out of commission for a moment, right? Because they just don't have any money to go into the next one.
Ooh. Hang on a minute. Zinni still wants to make something happen here. He's got the bomb as well, so definitely not down and out just yet. He'll tap this in. Incendiary will go down, but a tad too late. It's not even going to touch him. It just means that he can't peek out from the right-hand side. They'll take that as an advantage. He's funneled into the corner. Bob XD is just going to ego peek him. Drive-by swing with the AK. Pick up the headshot for the 7th round. 9 closing this gap very nicely. But with that bomb plant, a little bit of extra money going the way of RUSHB, yeah, there will be a little bit of cash to work with. I think maybe we'll see some pistols come out in the buy next.
I mean, they just want to prioritize having the full buy rate, so it makes sense. This, of course, gives me time to talk about something diabolical I did yesterday. I still feel a little bit bad about it. So yesterday, right, I was at the arcade, just like playing on the machines, the types that would give you prizes, and one of the machines only had 3 action figures inside it, just a knockoff Batman, Superman, and a Spider-Man, right? And there were like kids huddled around that machine trying to get them out, and I just went 3 times. Like, just started picking them out one by one. First I got the Batman, and the Spider-Man, and towards the end, to the dismay of the kids, I also pulled out the Superman, right? And for a moment, I wanted to be one of those guys that ends up on the daily dose of the internet by doing something heartfelt, by handing out action figures to kids. But then I thought of my 30-year-old brother who would also love to have a knockoff Spider-Man action figure with thighs the size of a professional bodybuilder, and I was like, you know what? Nah, I don't care about the kids. Brought them all home. They're stacked up on my desk right now.
Cold. I actually saw them. You put a picture on your story. I
Yeah.
actually saw them, and I was like, what have you been up to?
They're so poorly made too. Like the Spider-Man, like it makes sense for Batman and Superman, right? But Spider-Man's physique is just this professional bodybuilder. He's like 300 pounds with just a spider on its chest.
Oh, nice shot.
Beautiful.
Tom Holland would be happy. I can't remember the name of the actor for the first Spider-Man movies. My brain's just gone completely blank, so yeah, I'm Rocco.
Dude, as soon as you said that, Andrew Garfield, is that it?
No, that's the second one.
Oh, right,
It's,
okay. First
Tobey Maguire. That's
Oh,
it,
right,
Tobey
right,
Maguire.
right. Okay, you're right. I was never like a big Spider-Man fan. I just wanted to be me.
No, I liked Spider-Man. I was about to say, like, oh yeah, I wasn't a big Spider-Man fan, but I think I went to school as Spider-Man once, so I think I just have to, like, kind of bite the bullet and say, yeah, no, I liked Spider-Man.
I think it would be kind of cool if we commentated in superhero costumes, but there's no way anyone believes that you're Superman with that slender frame, and there is no way that Batman is 5'7", so I can't make it either.
They need to... There's that. They need to make, like, Stickman. I'd be good at that one.
Oh yeah.
I could be Prey Mantis from Kung Fu Panda.
You're too tall for it. Maybe Viper.
Just long. Fine. Well, I'll put away my pitch deck for Marvel for now.
Well, RUSHB are going to have to put away their weapons for a moment again. And you called it, Josh. You said it was going to be more likely that 9 end up with a bit of a recovery, but they kind of looked a bit lost towards the end of that first half, so excuse me for not having the most faith.
Yeah, they call me the Counter-Strike Prophet. It's sort of what I do. I'm joking. But yeah, it did kind of feel like, it did kind of feel like that's what was coming, right? They're actually going to take the lead here as well. Yeah, RUSHB have just... I'm not going to go as far as to say, like, mismanaged this economy. I feel like they've actually, you know, got out as many buy rounds as they could get out in these situations. But, yeah, this sort of force buy, full buy cycle, they are hitting the max loss now, but they are still finding themselves in this position where, yeah, they've just dropped, like, the last 5 rounds now and only really had a couple of gun rounds out of it. So it just sort of shows how quickly things can slip away. There's an Eagle looking for something. Kragan just says, no, I'm just going to have a wide peek it. Easy pickup. And for the 1v5.
I want to see if RUSHB can now make the recovery happen. Did it really well on that first half, only having one real speed bump after being down 0-4. But that lead that they once had has been snatched away from them. 9 playing a very aggressive CT side setup towards A main, chucking out a bunch of util. Relatively conservative playstyle from RUSHB, actually. Waiting everything out. I really do like that Long Dog has more space in the left side corner from the perspective of the CTs now, just so that you have somewhere to go as a T.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's a really awkward position, isn't it? It's like when you get peaked, there's no cover. You are just very, very exposed. Quite punishing, but...
Oh, Favin's not sure himself till the very end. He's going to catch one player out with the util on the jump ups in. He's being a problem in the backlines. And Executor will do some damage as well, but when the dust settles, it's still 9 on top. A little bit of damage on both players within one-shot territory with the M4. AWP is waiting. Executor has a lot of work to do. Sees a player on the hairline angle. Switches over to the AK-47. A 1v3 lined up. Can he grasp it? Is the question, but he can't even find the first kill. So 9. Easy days for them now as they continue to pile on the rounds.
Yeah, it feels like the end's in sight now as well. This has been a little bit of an uphill battle for them, Train. I think somewhat harder than they were maybe expecting it to be, but they've managed to make it work. I think that's the most important thing. They've made it work. They're finding some momentum, some groove here on their CT side. They've got plenty of money behind them as well, so if RUSHB do cause any complications in this one or the next, then they can reinvest. They're not going to have any economic problems, at least not for now. Incendiary down. In fact, they won't have any economic problems until, you know, the end of regulation, and then overtime comes with more money. So, yeah, they're not going to have those problems. PopXD seems pretty ready for this. He's got Mantu here with him as well. Orp on the angle, just in the nick of time. Will he stay on it? Flashbang comes in. Big opening shot.
Oh, BobX, he's forced to commit to the fight, and he does manage to get one. But will lose his life in the process. Already the full rotations having happened. Bomb committed. Mantu trying to thread through. Oh, there's no way they expect him. Goes around. Quick no-scope on a Texi. Kira's distracted and will be caught by Favin as he sees the body drop right next to his body. Beautiful footwork there from Mantu, and he's going 20-14 right now for good reason. He's the man we had under the limelight in the camp segment, and he's going to continue to show us exactly why.
Yeah, that is sick and just really ballsy, isn't it? You know, that's a little bit of a testament to just how he's been playing. It's like, yeah, you know what, we're stomping these guys right now on the CT side. Yeah, I'm gonna walk through the smoke, go for something a little bit funky. Works really nicely. Oh my god, yeah, that Spider-Man is jacked. Holy shit, look at his thighs.
That's what I'm saying, dog. It's so stupid. No, Cinny, look at those double entries. Taxi's gonna add more bodies to the pile. And quickly, BobXD could still turn the tides as he's up behind them, but it's all about the timing. If he doesn't get caught here, no, hang on. He just gave off a footstep. He could find them both in the lineup, though, and there it is. Knows where the third player is. It's going to mow him down, and it's just Executor remaining, who's also being expected. Peeks right into BobXD, and he shut them all down to get 9 on the 13th, and a beautiful sequence to shut out map 1 in the most unlikely scenario.
Yeah, it felt like they'd get one of the next 3 regardless, but yeah, just salt in the wound doing it like that, isn't it? Gorgeous work from Bob to carve 3 out of that situation. and flip around that, looked like maybe RUSHB would still hold on into, one that's firmly in Nine's favour. So comfortable stuff for that first to train. And whilst the scoreline sort of reflects a close game, and it did definitely feel like a close game, especially in that first half. And then when RUSHB were able to take the second half pistol and the follow-up, I thought, okay, maybe they'll make me eat my words. But yeah, Nine deliver on all fronts and do what we've grown very used to them doing recently.
Yeah, very good victory from them, and they're able to keep things clean despite the the bumps in the road we saw towards the start. I felt like RUSHB had finally had their number, but I think just overall a better output from the squad does mean that they're able to win it out. But if you actually look at the kill distribution, it doesn't look all too far off, right? Like maybe Executor's not quite performing as well as I'd like him to, but there was definitely this could have definitely turned into a victory for RUSHB if that lineup doesn't happen. It snowballs out of control from there. We could have totally seen overtime. I feel like a lot of things could have happened if it wasn't for the individual moments of brilliance. We saw a 1v4 from BobXD. We saw a 1v3 from Mantu in the most unlikely scenarios, and just a lot of individual heroics that allowed this to become a comfortable map victory for them. Now, though, we've got Ancient coming up. That's RUSHB's map pick, so we'll hope that that is going to be a better affair for them. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break.
She said she loves you.
But she can't love me.
But I love you.
Yeah. Look, all of my friends going crazy. I gotta brag on myself, I amaze me. Ain't got nothing to phase me. I'm seeing Joe like I'm back in the 80s. Because
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xBet.
On to the next one. YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone peeks through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb drops, popped up behind it at the edge of. Away with a kill, but quick trade back from Area still through the
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions.
YaLLa, let's go!
Welcome back, everybody. We're about to kick things off with the second map of the day. Still the first match, so we had a bit of a delay because we were still trying to figure out some technical difficulties, but we should be right on track. Of course, map 2 is Ancient. We've already seen 9 win their own map pick. Now, I want to see how they fare on their opponents.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting map. I don't think that they looked great on their T-side of train, so, proof in the pudding that slightly uncomfortable territory really does test them. Moving on to Ancient, it is a map that they're also pretty good at, but yeah, it is, for RUSHB, their best map. They pick into it a hell of a lot. That and Nuke, they're playing a lot of at the moment. And yeah, I think that they're going to be reasonably confident going into this one. Maybe we will see this go to a third map. I'm not sure. I think when we looked at the veto, it was very clear that 9 won that veto. They're on 3 maps that they're very good with. So I'd be surprised if they don't take it their way in at least one of these next 2, but it might not be Ancient.
Yeah, it definitely feels that 9 are favored to take this one, but honestly, after that recovery on map number 1, I wouldn't even be too surprised if they're able to muscle through that second map as well. I really want to see how RUSHB are going to try and defend against that, because so far, you've got to remember that you're looking at a very powered up 9, so with like a 7 or 8 win streak, the fact that they lost to a couple of contingencies going wrong on the only series loss that they've had in recent times against Zero Tenacity, 2 13-11s that could have been turned around by a couple pistols or something. This is definitely one of the highest forms we've seen from 9 with this iteration of the roster. So I'm a little scared if I'm in the shoes of RUSHB, but then again, RUSHB have also looked pretty damn good. So not sure where this is going to go, but it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think that this one should... It's difficult to say it's going to be closer. I think that first map was quite sort of superficially close, wasn't it? It was a 13-9, but after RUSHB had a good first half, they won the pistol, they won the follow-up, and then they didn't win a single round after that. So it sort of looks reasonably close on the scoreline. It felt very close until we got to round number 14 or so, and then it just wasn't close at all. Now I'm expecting this one to be a little bit more of a back and forth, but again, with 9 starting off on their CT side, there is a world that they just kind of accumulate a lot of early rounds and really take the reins here. We'll see. Pistol round worth a whole lot. Double Julie's in play. They've been dropped over by Rouse. He sort of sacrifices himself a little bit here. Doesn't have a kit either. He is just jumping in with a single flashbang that USP. Wants to try and buff up his teammates. Here we go.
Oh, really good shot there from Taxi to open things up over towards middle, and they're going to route all of their efforts through from Donut. Man2 waiting, catches the first bird in, but isn't able to find the second member. It's a 3 versus 4, and the retake's already on. Dooley's the first ones to go through. Kiro getting off the bomb. The smoke starting to be poked holes through. And it's a bit of a stalemate. RUSHB with a pretty significant advantage. It's all about who's able to find the first end. There it is. Rawls finding the player in A main. And now that it's a 3v3, it is anybody's game. Big box player trying to serve up a distraction. Rawls up close and personal. There it is. That's the headshot. Zinni all of a sudden left alone. Chased down by the Glocks. And the Doolies will be able to finish everything off. 9. Definitely not a pistol that they thought they were teed out for, but one they'll come out on top of regardless.
Wow, even with the man disadvantage. Pulling that back on a retake without the kit as well just feels criminal. They'll be happy to take it, though. A whole lot invested into this second round. Knowing that RUSHB are going to be on a decent force by their own. Not touching the SMGs. It's 3 for masses, 2 M4s. They don't want to mess around here. They want to just get this closed in 2 bites. And I like this crossfire set up in mid.
So, Krogan. A good couple of collections there. Does get baited out by the molly, though. Hang on. It's Kiro. Or rather, sorry, it's Rawls to come in from behind. And he's able to clean things up. That got really scary for a second. 9 had to rely on an individual member to step up. Which definitely shouldn't have happened when they're just up against pistols, Josh.
Kinky then left by himself. Not a desirable position to be in. But one that he's got to try and make work. And he does manage to find that first head. That's Faven dropping. And they sort of wipe the sweat off their forehead in this round.
Uh-oh.
Very much seeming like they'd already got it over the line. But yeah, still tested. Rouse lucky that he manages to catch the timing. Good footwork and positioning from him to get that one over. 2-0. But again, 9 were really tested. They can somewhat shrug it off on the basis that they were against a force, but they are going to be against another one here.
Very awkward engagement to kick things off, yes. But that awkwardness is going to carry on into round number 3. Executor's able to find Krogan in middle, but some damage is being brought back. Kiro an issue. Mantu, though, is trying to still keep this line thin. Excuse us for the HUD weirdness. Can't really do anything about it right now, but it is clear that 9 have a pretty significant disadvantage. It's all about how well the flank can perform, though. Look at this. Faven coming all the way from the back lines. He's got the MP9 in hand, and if he gets the drop on them, Josh, then that could be all it takes. Just one man to pepper them with bullets. Mantu tries to slow them down, but in fact, it's the MP9 that's preemptively pulled the trigger upon. You start routing themselves through Red Room. Are they going to go through to A? Because if they do, then they're going to be running into Mantu. Thankfully not. B sides their agenda.
Molly going down. Makes he's a little bit sticky as he starts to creep his way up. Mantu coming to join the party as well. Timing absolutely everything as these two boys bounce in between the angles. This Galil trying to work his way out. Oh yeah, that's big. That's a good start. They have got a kill on Mantu as well, so they've got a little bit of time to work with here. As Faven will take out the second head of the beast. Kinky gone on ramp, a third on the board for 9. It's another one that comes really close. So they get it over the line. And I'm not sure, do RUSHB go for another force buy here? Is this one just going to be half and then a full investment in the next? No, it's going to be another sort of full force with the Galils.
Definitely an awkward start for 9 to be taking... Sorry, for RUSHB to be running into. Oh, look at what Rawls is coming up with. Thought he was going to run out with a flashbang. Krogan dead set on taking the fight towards heaven. Instead is going to get caught out. Really good little lineup from Mantu. Is ready for the second player as well. Headshots are good, but will finally be peeked by Kiro and will be put out of his misery. Problem is, when the dust settled, it's RUSHB in the graveyard.
Yeah, now it's time to call a pause because they've realized they've just sort of forced the issue, thrown themselves at this round after round since losing the pistol. They had a big advantage in the pistol that they choked. They got the bomb plant, they had a little bit of money, they came into the second, they went for the force, it came close again, they got the bomb down, and in fact, sorry, they didn't get the bomb down, but it came down to a 1v1. Third round, they then got the bomb down, same affair. Fourth round, coming close again. But now I think it is probably time to bite the bullet. Pistols armor, full investment in the follow-up. That's going to mean more than likely giving up 5 rounds. It's just pretty much the worst way you can ask to start off your own map pick, but this is where we are. They've got to just make it work.
Definitely starting to run the margins dry a bit for their T side already. Nearly 5 rounds being given up. They want to do something cheeky with the pistol, so they opt for a boost towards middle. Relatively slow stuff, though. This isn't one of those pistols where you just run into a rifle.
Yeah, it does feel like they want more out of this round, right? Considering there is still a decent investment in play. It's far from an eco. Tech 9 on Kinky. We've seen plenty of times in the past. Fights just like this. Pulling off some real heroics. Rouse. The nice early pickup. Spams through the smoke. Will not convert for the kill, but a whole load of damage dealt. Now just going to group together, try and route up a ramp here. Oh, sorry, B ramp.
So Falvin spotted, but very crisp on the trigger. Sloppy spray on the second. But he continues to fight back. Some damage inflicted, but Mantu's right there to pick up the slack. And interestingly enough, Zinni's managed to slip the net. Expected, but not caught. It's an AK-47 being recovered, and he's going to try and run for the hills. No, in fact, he wants to keep himself relevant. He wants to fight because he wants to equate his money with the rest of the pack. Starts running straight into the fights, but he can't find anything else. But that might even be a blessing in disguise that he doesn't die after time. So RUSHB now back into the money, but this is a pretty undeniable start for 9.
Yeah, this really does just put them in the driver's seat to pull away. 5 rounds doesn't seal it just yet. We've seen plenty of times recently where teams have been able to accumulate a start like this, and then it ties up 6-6, and it feels like, you know, a kind of alright half, but so much of the time that disappointing end ends up sort of breaking your confidence a little bit. Kinky's going to fly out. It's a big kill from Bob. And wow, okay, alright, doesn't seem like there's any stopping right here. Mantu follows up. 2-man advantage, eventual trade, but yeah, the cavalry's already arrived.
Oh yeah, you don't even need the full force, right? It's just RUSHB being picked off, picked one by individuals. Manta holding the line and making sure that nobody goes through from Temple. It's still a decent exchange for RUSHB, though. So very doable, especially with Kiro having an AWP, means he can find a shot and run out of there without having to take any damage. The HP is not doing Mantu any favors. His responsibility is just to make sure that they can't go on over to B. That's exactly what he's getting ready to do. There's no shadow to betray either, so he's just going to have to take the fight raw. Oh, pull the trigger preemptively. Has the angle advantage against Kiro. but caught next to the wall. 2v2 still. Still have to get the bomb down, and that's the hard part, Josh.
That complicates things a little bit here. They are still both on the site. No one's pulled away, thinking that it's going to be some kind of B rotation, but Rao's at a very awkward angle. Has to take a scrappy fight. Kraken's there to trade it out. Now just needs to stay alive, and against the Orb, he's got such an advantage. The Orb would have to land a ridiculous shot, and he manages to somehow cross to the other side. What has just happened? I don't know, because the HUD's broken. Surely the time run out. No, he's hit the no-scope. Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yeah, I couldn't tell if we turned off the X-ray or if he hit the no-scope, but apparently it's the latter. Beautiful stuff.
I don't know why Kraken's still shooting there. He's continuing to give up his position. It's like, stay alive. There's seconds left to spare.
Yeah, but you gotta admit, the no-scope's a bit ambitious, right? Just randomly finds it through the smoke. It's a good start for RUSHB. Now they can come back into the groove of things. A site on the menu as they start rushing in. Smoke deployed. As Krogan wants to find a little bit more mobility into the site. Uses the MP9 to usher himself forcefully into it. Taxi wanted to take the duel. There's no extra utility available to try and help them get into deeper positions. So it's going to have to be the full 5v5 as the CT side will bring their full force down.
Look at what this has done to the CT money as well. Losing a round that they just shouldn't have then means in the next 4 MP9s, despite being 5-0 up. They'll play for exit frags here, knowing they got no chance in the round, but a chance to maybe do some damage. That was bold. Couple going down to the bomb. Couple super low here as well. Kraken.
I like the attempt from Kraken. Just through the clouds of the smoke, tries to reach for anything that might have dropped. Okay, so a weird way for RUSHB to be coming back into things, but you're right, the money being as broken as it is for 9 suddenly gives them a very reasonable chance back into the game, because if you recall how Train started, RUSHB were able to recover on that first half. They weren't able to close it, sure, but this is still potentially 7 rounds for the taking for RUSHB if they can play things flawlessly. Now, obviously, can't expect things to be all hunky-dory, but at least some breathing room allowed with 9 having no money.
So quick to turn around again. I mean, what was supposed to be just a dead set 6-0 will now go 5-3, and RUSHB back with some real equity in this game. Stacked up as a 3 into middle, going to push all the way down. They've got that M4 on Faven, so trying sort of bolster it up, put it in the best position that it can. Decent timing, or shouldn't expect this. So Faven might be good for a freebie if he can get the timing on the peak. He doesn't go for it. He might have an even better timing here.
If they can get that first kill as a freebie, then maybe we can talk. Oh, Taxi gives up his position. And there's a chance he gets isolated here. Holding S, trying to curve his way around corners. Hang on, everything's falling apart now for RUSHB as they're trying to force themselves into cave. A weird angle for Executor to be holding. Bob XD from behind catches Kinky. And it's Taxi who needs to get it done all by himself. Sprays them down, but he can't get the full lineup. And 9 with the broken money will be able to shatter RUSHB.
Okay, that's going to be 6 then. And yeah, literally a full eco round with a saved MP9 and a saved A1S. I was a little bit worried that they'd overcooked it a tad, waited too long before going for that peek in towards the B slope, but no, it seemed to work beautifully. All of the pieces in place, and even when the contact was made and the gunfight's got a little bit sloppy, The USPs were there on the sidelines to trade it out. Comfortable stuff. RUSHB. A little bit of a taste of their own medicine with a round win like that. One that 9 just really had no business in taking. Bob with the smokes bound to get things started. Does Kraken get checked it? Surely he does.
Oh no, it's a limp-wristed check, and that's why he's gonna get caught. Rawls. Oh, he sees the head smoking. That's brutal. And every single one of these individual engagements from RUSHB has been real sloppy. Texie's still trying to fight an uphill battle, going 9-7 while the rest of the squad struggles. Maybe a bit of action from Kira as well. But on the other side, you've got such heavy hitters at the moment. You've got Rouse and Mantu, who were both performing incredibly well on map number 1, just lighting things up once more. Good shot, though, from Kinky. And gets them back into the round.
Yeah, 2v2. Smokes go up. Faven can't beat them, but can he get creative? Flashbang over. He's just going to play right through the cloud. Does a lot of damage onto the second after finding that first kill. Kinky down to 34 HP. Problem is, Mantu hasn't really got the right tool for this job. So Kinky's going to tap the bomb. Expect a rifle to have played through. Second tap should force Mantu forward. Does get spotted. Misses his AWP shot. And that's the issue. I can't help but feel Mantu needed to just wrap long there and pick up the rifle. A little too confident on the scoped weapon. And, well, was punished as a result. RUSHB make it 3. Another round with thin margins.
Yeah, this is honestly a bit of a recovery coming out from RUSHB, but I'm not sure how sustainable this is going to be. Now, thankfully, once more, you'll see some breathing room. It's a good shot from Mantu to kick things off, though. Is Krogan going to be checked? Does he look behind himself at all? I don't know, but he is going for the wrap. Oh, no, that's a 4x3 moment. Kinky didn't spot him towards the left side of his screen. Now, Bob XZ is going to be kicking his teammate for letting that little transgression happen. But that does afford a false sense of security for the rest of the squad as well, who don't know that Krogan slipped the net. But is that even useful, is the question. Oh, good shot again. Wow. I mean, it's some really good shooting from Zinni, but I also want to put some light on Kinky, who's able to single-handedly draw so much attention away from 9. They suddenly had to start rotating players over. They had to figure out the rat, where the rat had gone. He'd made it past their defenses. This could be a decent T-side from RUSHB after all is said and done. After the money comes in, it's still only about $2,000 a pop, and buying around it seems like a bit of an impossibility. Kind of feels like the best case scenario here for 9 is just to get 7 and call it a day, but even that might be a luxury they can't afford.
Certainly could be. This should have been more for 9. Again, I mentioned it at the start, didn't I? They went 5-0 up, and I said You know, sometimes this is the start of greatness and an absolute stomp, and so much of the time, it's quite literally just, you know, a decent start, but splits at 6-6 at the half-time, and it seems like we're seeing the latter here. RUSHB almost definitely teed up for a fifth, unless Kragan can do something crazy. He's there up in the red room with that AK in hand, ready to pounce. Bob's USP just looking a little lacking here. Oh, wow, that's gross.
I mean, they are going to be able to wrap around, but by the time they do, there should already be an offense set up in Donut. Kragan knows he doesn't want to overstep that boundary, so instead exits are the name of the game now. Looking at all these AK-47s just made me think of the fact that today Valve actually went out of their way to fix how the stickers look on the barrel, on the stock position. So they're not just clipping through the AK now anymore.
Oh, cool.
Like it's really fun to see when they listen to, like, I would say like the smaller community, but I feel like skins are almost bigger than the game at this point. I mean, that's where the money is, right? But
yeah,
it's nice to see them care about the small details.
Okay, well, a little bit of a pause here for 9 before going into the final round of the half, realising that they have kind of lost control a little bit here. This has not been a you know, a half to brag about, I think. Sort of had that monster start and very quickly unravelled a little bit. RUSHB are the ones with the momentum. 5 of the last 6 rounds going in their favour. The one that didn't was a little bit awkward. It was a very close clutch round. They made up for it in the follow-up, made sure that 9 didn't string together any kind of streak. We're underway for the 12th and final of the half. 9 with the weapons out, but lacking in certain areas. Couple of kits, no helmets. In fact, 1 on Bob. Lack of util as well. It could suffice. Oh, big shot from Mantu to get things started.
Zinni's wanting to be the difference maker this time as well, but there's more resistance being offered. Bob XD in the backlines doing damage, keeping them at bay. Texi still fighting back. Nearly gets the spray, but it's Favin to have the last laugh as 9 get away with 7 rounds on their CT side. So maybe a little less than what we expected how they started, but still very favorable.
Yeah, very much so. Especially if they can win this second half pistol, then they really are on their way to just close this out. CTs will jump in with a kit and a smoke. That's kinky. So will them on the other side of things. Fair bit of util as well, actually. We saw Rouse dropping over the Julies in the first pistol round on the CT side. Now he's the man to bear the util. Man 2 with the smoke and a flash drops a nade over to Vavan. Little jiggle, spots the man on long. USP can't play whack-a-mole for all too much longer. And as the smokes get posted, they'll go for a plant here.
Oh man, this feels a bit difficult to crack when you've already got every player in position and the timer a fourth of the way ticked down. Ooh, nasty nade to be peeking with. And RUSHB, their chances being minimized as they lose more and more bodies. Duels going the way of the T, some resurgence thrown in there. but nothing that should materialize into an actual round win, and 9 are off to a smashing start on the second half.
Yeah, exactly what they want. Strong justification to go for a big buy after this as well for RUSHB. Remember, what kind of caused them that early game loss streak was losing the pistol and then just really forcing the issue in the following 4 rounds, continuing to buy up these Galils and whatnot. They're not going to have that same kind of luxury here on the CT side. It doesn't make sense to go for the second round forces. Less justification means just an eco here, be a buy in the next. Perhaps a field day for Fathom, perhaps a nasty surprise as the flashbang pops over. He switches to his knife, trying to escape. It'll be Kragan, Mantu, and Bob to clean things up. And to be honest, one casualty at a time like that, not too bad. They recover the rifle as well, I think. And 9 are on to 9.
Nine wanted to fast track it into the A-bomb site, but they're met with deadly force. And the Lurker's kind of out of commission here as well. Look at that. Rawls is stuck in between 2 angles. Has to worry about the B-side rotator as well. Just trying to be an issue as the rest of the players rotate over. I really do like what Rawls has been able to do here, because look, now there's only one player that they have to contend with over towards B. If Mantu can get an opening kill, then suddenly this round is right back on. Oh, they're still worried about Rawls, Josh. But he's already wrapped around. Oh, no.
Lining him up. Favan, even through the smoke. Doesn't quite finish it. It's Mantu's nade to do so, but puts a whole load of damage into him. Brilliant stuff. There's 10 rounds, 9 zooming onto double digits now.
Oh yeah, things are looking a bit rough right now for RUSHB. That could have been a cool pun if I just leaned into it, but some other day maybe. Some nade damage. The favor being returned. Almost feels speed up to be a 9 victory. Feels like the margins are now too thin. Hang on.
Yeah, not like this night. Seen such great work out of them on this T-side so far to lose to the pistols.
Oh, they don't have any util to actually go past this Mantu, being super careful, but instant headshot from Executor. Will stay true to his name, and it's Favan and Bob XD, already quite low, and they've got to get the work done. Elbow grease has to be put into this. Favan, not exposing himself till the very end, is eventually taken out in the 1v1, but he does find one before he falls. Texi wanted to stick to the full commitment. The 10-second defuse, there it is. Bob XD knows that the commitment's been made, but he lands the spray on the leg of Texi that's smoking out, and 9 get away with 11.
That one comes a little close for comfort, but with the margin of error that they've got right now, I don't think they'll mind all too much. 6 rounds ahead. 2 away from the finish line and stomping their foot down as a comfortable 2-0 in a game that, as we said before, they were sort of teed up as the favourites, but as I said, RUSHB have been a real dark horse recently. They're a good side and have proven that time and time again. They're a team, oh my god, what a shot back from Rouse. Yeah, they're a team that I've sort of learnt not to underestimate. Cairo, showing he's still got a bit of fight left in him. The 4v4, and oh my god, what is happening? Bob was just burning for so long, and Kragan wouldn't get out of the way.
Yeah, he's committed to the cause, despite not wanting to be. So it might not be the streamlined finish that we were expecting. RUSHB still have some fight in them. Only a couple players having broken past double digits, but the ones that have quite far into it. Texi on almost 20 kills before some of his teammates have even broken past 5. Double kill from Kinky. Nice and clean. And RUSHB will live to see another day. Problem is, 9 still have some money in the tank, Josh.
Yeah, just about enough to go for a decent buy here. So RUSHB not in the clear just yet. A bit of an awkward round. It was a brilliant spam from Rouse to get things started. Then we found ourselves in this position where, you know, it felt a little bit more like Nine's mistakes rather than RUSHB's successes. They did well to take advantage. Tip the scales in their favour. To go down, Texi just spamming on the other side. Pop's already out onto A.
Oh, this is a pretty advanced position for him to be taking. So 9 with the bomb down, a couple of contingencies as well. The lurks can pop through at any moment. They don't even know that there's a second player in towards heaven. Now they're starting to bunker down on these players from all different angles, and it feels more like a retake from 9 than it does from RUSHB. They're the ones who now have to fight 2 different types of offenses, but they're still living to fight. Executor puts down 1, still very doable, especially with the smoke having been deployed. Flashbang does a little good. The full commitment. Executor is able to find it, and Favin just couldn't be part of that conversation. I'm very surprised that doesn't go the way of 9.
That's another desperately close one, but RUSHB holding on by a thin thread. I like the fact that RUSHB are utilising their timeouts here as well. They're going to call their 3rd and final pause. Nothing left in the timeout tank after this, but they know it's kind of now or never to start pulling back the next 4. Nine's money's all over the place. They go for another force, but 2 Tech 9s, a Deagle, 2 AKs. This doesn't feel like a strong investment. A couple of players missing from the desks, actually, so sort of commending them on their tactical pause, but we swiftly transition into a technical because there's a load of players missing.
So close to the finish line, yet so far. So I have quite a bit of work to get done. Also, I know that we headed into this game with a limelight on Kinky because he has generally been struggling, but I feel like he's had a couple of really good moments here, so if he can keep up this kind of output, I think then his position within the team wouldn't be brought into question.
Sort of focusing and analysing his role a little bit more, it does make a lot of sense why he has the low ratings as well. He's been playing this sort of very, very hard supportive role. He's always the one on the pistol rounds with the util and the kit. He's always the one that sort of sacrifices himself to buff up the more mechanical riflers on his team, dropping the guns over and things like that. So you do definitely expect him to be on the lower end of the scoreboard. But yeah, it does just feel like sort of 0.88 in the past 3 months is a little below par. Either way, as you say, he's having a pretty serviceable performance today, and more of this would be very good. There we go. Technical timeout cancelled. We're ready to get back into the action for round number 19. 9 still with something to fight back with here, but it's not great. It's not great. If they lose it, then RUSHB will probably be on to 9, and there's a real shot at this one again.
Oh, Texi caught out. Bob XD with a second kill as well. There's just no pushback being allowed. Zinni's gonna have to do everything by himself. Swings for the hills, but he'll be caught by Rawls on the Tech 9. The only 2 prongs remaining will have to book it out of here. Money's not the best for RUSHB either. A couple of rounds being thrown into their bag does also mean that their loss bonus is starting to go down. And that's the worst time for that loss bonus to start being exhausted. At least they're able to keep themselves composed and make sure they're not found on the exits. But RUSHB, this is a task and a half if they want to bring it back here, Josh.
Oh, big shot, Cairo. Allow him to stay alive and carry across that all-important sniper, because without saving those 2 weapons, not only would they be faced with their opponents being on map and series point here, but they'd be faced with economic turmoil, not enough money to buy what they want. 5 in a row needed for RUSHB just to extend play here. It feels like wishful thinking. 9 have no doubt been the better team. They've had their little moments where we've seen some fumbles, where we've seen some awkwardness. Generally speaking, the consistency's absolutely resonated. Rouse, ooh, almost gets caught with util, then gets his gun back out. Still, 3 is a little too much to bite. It's a decent refrag. Bob will bring back the numbers. Man2 with a great reaction.
RUSHB about to walk the plank unless they can provide a little bit more resistance. 3 plays getting ready to bunker down on B. And RUSHB wanting to take their resources to A and middle. I think that might be the right call, actually. But the problem is they're losing out the duels. 2-man commitment to middle. Kiro could have gotten a free shot off. Does still manage to get Favin. But now with both players having been exposed, they realize that B is completely empty, and Bob XD's preemptively in position to clothesline Kiro as he comes in. And it's just Executor remaining, caught by the tripwire of Krogan, and that is going to be 9 getting it done in 2 swift blows.
Yeah, very comfortable stuff from 9, to be honest. You don't necessarily expect it any other way, as we were saying before, sort of teeing it up for RUSHB being this dark horse, but by the nature of a dark horse, they're not always pulling off these crazy upsets, right? And yeah, today is just one of those days where they're okay. We see some little flashes in the pan out of them, but it's not quite good enough. 9 are just a team that, you know, don't often falter to some of these sort of newer kids on the block. They're a team with a lot of tenure, with players that, even though within this roster maybe haven't played together for years, have around the scene played together for years, and yeah, just have like a very regimented structure that is quite hard to beat. So yeah, a really strong performance from them. The hard hitters hitting hard. Man2 had a great game, 38 and 28. I was a little bit worried. He was missing some shots in their match yesterday. He was sort of putting up decent numbers, but missing a lot of those really, really key duels. That wasn't really the case today. He was real consistent.
You can tell that there's just like the glaring issue of Executor not being able to perform today, because I feel like having a little bit of oomph on just the bottom two players could have changed everything, because you saw how RUSHB were looking much more potent when Zinni was popping off in a couple of those rounds, but we never really saw Executor come out on top in any real engagement. Now, it's nice to see that Kinky is able to turn up with a decent performance, had an 82 ADR, 28 kills, very decent stuff, but despite even 9 scoreboard looking a little bit top heavy towards Mantu and Bob XD, who were absolutely impeccable on train, that top heaviness pales in comparison to what we saw from RUSHB. Unfortunately, there's just a huge disparity in this game in between how these individuals were playing. Now, that being said, though, that is a wrap for the first game. We do have SASHI and Eklock coming up very, very soon, and when that's on, we'll be right back. But there's about an hour's time, so maybe keep that tab open, but you'll know as soon as we're on.